And we are wrestling with NXT Takeover 36 because we don't have good titles for our takeovers anymore because we're just in one place. It's this Sunday actually, and that's kind of weird to have your biggest show. It Let me put it this way: it's kind of like having dinner and then having the appetizers afterwards. No, Kaliko?
Well, considering the fact that SummerSlam is unusually on a Saturday night, I mean, it's some. I mean, the scheduling was what threw it off. But I would think that's better for NXT.
But do you think people are less likely to watch NXT because it's not the build up to SummerSlam and it's, oh, I already watched SummerSlam, I don't really need to watch this?
Um, Not really, because the thing is there's no follow through with SummerSlam. Because after SummerSlam, everybody's leaving. They're going straight back home. So, um, that's why I think they get the. It might be a little bit of a dip because of the fact that everybody's going back home. But I think those who will try to make it will try to watch it, like myself. And um, it's not like WrestleMania weekend or before COVID WrestleMania weekend where we were able to have all this shit in one spot and don't have to worry about the shit. But so that's why it's a little different to me. It's a little different, but I think NXT has built the following and reputation that it gets that benefit of the doubt.
And of course, if you're smart, you'll listen to it on the remix, the only live alternative commentary on the internet today, with Scooter Dust on the UNB network. Do not miss it. Let's
Damn
get
right, don't miss it.
let's get into the matches. The first match out, Walter versus Ilya Dragunov for the NXT United Kingdom Championship. Who wins, Kaliko?
My mind is telling me Walter, but my body is saying Dragunov. And the issue is because Walter's been champ for like ever, so he's got to go, right? Like Pete Dunne, even like, thought Pete Dunne had it for forever. No, Walter had it forever.
Yeah.
So I think it's that time. It's that time.
I'm
Dragunov.
actually with that. Karrion Kross versus Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship.
I told you it was gonna be for the chip. I told you. I told y'all. It's like it's gonna be for the chip. Come on, man. Interesting match up because of the simple fact of what's gonna happen with Cross, right? Like,
right, because he's already Raw bound.
He is, but
dude, he's wrestling Jeff Hardy. He has a rivalry with Jeff Hardy. He's on Monday Night Raw.
He's there, but it's like 1 foot out the door and 1 foot in the door, right? Like,
could you say that with Kevin Owens back in 14?
But Kevin Owens was with John Cena. It ain't like let me put it this way. Kevin Owens' first match, he beat the shit out of John Cena, okay? That ain't the case with Karrion Kross, right?
He lost to Jeff Hardy.
Bingo. So that's my point. And I feel like him being on Raw, he wouldn't have that It ain't like he's gonna get the girl. It ain't like he's gonna get the entrance. So wouldn't he want to stay there? And if he does, he would be the champ. I feel like NXT kind of went awkward with that. That people having multiple reigns with the belt, because usually you get a reign, you're done, and that's like you being the champ was like your graduation. All right, congratulations, you are ready to go, right? Like that's like the degree.
Yeah.
But now, thanks to Samoa Joe and Nakamura, that ain't the case. So, so, so blame those two. Um, I'm gonna say it's hard. Flip a coin. I'll go with Joe just because the simple fact that he'll be the first 3-time champion.
I'm going with Joe too because I think Cross is going to Raw and no entrance, no goal, and I think that might actually benefit him on Raw. Because
With that,
it benefits him because if you noticed on this week's NXT, the people were chanting, "Where is Charlotte?" When you have your top guy out there in a major rivalry, you don't want them chanting for the goal, which is kind of the conversation we had a couple weeks ago on the show. You know what I mean?
true, but the girl was like the Met. It wasn't like Miss Elizabeth where she was a moot, right? She was the messenger, and that's where I think it was a problem because she was essentially like the person who's like, he's coming for you next, right?
True, but I mean, things have changed a lot from the Miss Elizabeth era. I mean, and the whole Randy Savage Miss Elizabeth dynamic was a lot different than it is with Scarlett and Cross. Even with Lana and Rusev at this point, you know, people cared more about Lana than Rusev, and it severely damaged his career.
Because it was based on the Rocky Four shit. If they had not had Lana leave Rusev, then that was the whole point. Like when Lana wanted to be American free and da 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 da, that's where it fucked up. It wasn't like it fucked up because the crowd didn't care. Because the motherfucker came out on the tape by himself. Wasn't nobody going Lana, Lana.
Well, Lana did come out with him, just not on the tank.
That's my point.
But that okay, well, that's another conversation for another time. Let's get into this conversation right now. Raquel Gonzalez versus Dakota Kai for the NXT Women's Championship. Is this your favorite fruit match, Kaliko?
No, because you want to know why?
It's a
I'm
vegetable?
gonna. One, yeah, it is a vegetable, and number two, I think that they're gonna give it to Dakota.
Really?
You remember when Evil beat Naito?
Yeah,
And it was mainly because it just felt like a stab in the heart type of deal.
yeah.
I think this is where it's going to go. And the reason being is because if Raquel wins, there's no more challengers. This builds a rivalry to where Dakota could get the belt and actually achieve something. And then
You could
Raquel will get
extend,
it back.
yeah, you could extend the rivalry for another 3 to 6 months.
Exactly. Plus, it would make sense for the master, which was Dakota, who knows everything, all her moves, who knows her damn near about as much as she knows herself, to beat her.
I
Physically, I get it. It's a mismatch. But this match is not about physicality. It's personal. And I would give the psychological edge to Dakota.
and I totally get what you mean, but it's not like NXT has done right by Dakota Kai in the past before. You know, she's always been honestly the Janetti of this group. Or and you know her the promo on Tuesday, Raquel really gave it to her, and you know it leads you to believe, oh well, she's got a shot, but it also, if she doesn't win, it just makes her look that much weaker. Not to mention, Dakota had a match on WWE Superstars, it could have been main event. I think it was main event against Alea, and she lost to her. So Dakota is in a weird little flux right now. Wouldn't you say that?
No, because of the simple fact, like I just said, it's personal. And if there was one spot where it would happen, this is it. Honestly, I thought she should have been the person to beat Baszler because I thought it would have been a good
Yeah.
face story for her getting her arm broke, coming back, facing her bullies and shit. That was my thought process, but that did not happen. So we are at the point where now she's the heel turned on her friend. And if she can't get it now, she ain't gonna never get it. That's why I think she'll get it now.
Well,
she has to get it now. This is it.
Like you were trying with Dragunov and Walter, my heart tells me Dakota, but my mind tells me Raquel.
Oh, I'm all in on Dakota. All in. I'm all in. Sorry, AEW. All in.
Next match, LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes. If LA Knight wins, Ted DiBiase has to become his butler. And it's for the $1 Million Championship as well. Delico, who wins?
I don't know. Because LA. It's kind of weird what they're doing with the belt. Because it almost feels like these two are the only two going for the belt.
Right.
So it would only make sense if Cameron wins the belt to keep this shit going. Granted, they had great chemistry. Like, with the whole Butler bit. It was great. So that's why I think it would continue. So I'm going with Cameron Grimes to the moon, baby.
I feel like it has to be Cameron Grimes this point. Or they're just Dakota Kaiing him at this point.
Hey, don't talk about Dakota like that.
You know they Sonata her just as much as they do Sonata.
No, nobody Sonata as much as Sonata.
Yeah, it has to be Cameron Grimes. Um, and I'm not entirely sure, but I think this might be the main event of the show. Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole in a 3 stages of hell match. Technically 2 out of 3 falls, but the other one, the former sounds more dramatic. The first falls a traditional wrestling match. Second, street fight, if necessary, which it probably is. Steel cage match. Who wins, Kaliko?
Cole wins the wrestling. Riley wins the street. And this is where it gets interesting because is Cole staying? Should he stay or should he go?
If he's going to the main roster, he might lose the match. If he's going anywhere else, he's still probably going to lose the match.
Yeah, because there's rumors that he's going to AEW, which is weird. Granted,
I mean, it's going to be a packed motherfucking roster on AEW. CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, Bray Wyatt.
And my point is, like, 3 shows. You got 3 shows and you still ain't going to have enough. Because somebody getting kicked to the curb. So I'm going to go Adam Cole. He goes to the main roster, baby.
I say O'Reilly wins the traditional wrestling match. Cole wins the street fight. O'Reilly wins the cage match. O'Reilly for the win. Because if Adam Cole is moving up, whether it be the main roster or leave to AEW, he's gonna need. He can't leave on a win. He has to he has to leave on a loss, right?
Yeah, I see that point. I just,
especially if you're going to build Kyle O'Reilly to wrestle either Samoa Joe or Karrion Kross for the NXT Championship. Or just go for the NXT Championship.
But I think that ship sailed, though, because when he lost the 5-way, it sailed. To me.
True, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Kross will be champion in a couple months down the line. It doesn't even mean that Joe's going to be the champion if he wins it. What I'm saying is, it seems like they're building Kyle O'Reilly so people can believe that he is a main event player and hold that NXT banner. What it looks like to me, anyway. Kaliko?
It just depends, man. It's just weird how they're gonna go from here on out. I'm just hoping, but it just depends. If O'Reilly wins, that would mean Karrion would win, right? Because it wouldn't make sense for Joe and O'Reilly.
I mean, it would not make sense.
I mean, because O'Reilly and Kross kind of had that little stare down a while back, but they never really got the one-on-one, so that's why.
Well, we'll see what happens when it happens. We'll have a review of this show next week. Until then, we'll conclude our coverage of NXT Takeover 36.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.